mine was fact from my brother and my dad listening to music, quite a lot of music in the house, the Beatles, etc. And then my brother learned drums when I was probably a teenager, and it evolved from that. My first gig was quite late actually, it was Stereophonics, but music was always in the household, that's for sure.
Yeah, for me, it'd be Kurt and I are brothers, so it'd be very similar, I would imagine. But I enjoyed music in school. Like I liked performing from a young age, singing as part of choirs and shit like that. Not very rock and roll, but you know. And then I wasn't really sort of into records until quite late on. And my dad would try and expose me to music early doors. Like he was a big Elvis fan and Beatles and loads of 60s stuff, and then I'd be like, no, not interested. And then when I hit teenage years, I was probably a rocker first, like Nirvana and that kind of stuff, and then eventually indie music. But my dad used to photograph gigs as well, so he took us out to, I think my first one was Shed 7 and Manson at Manchester Academy. So that was quite good really to start seeing how bands do it live. But yeah, it's no different than a lot of people, I imagine, apart from my dad's side of it. My dad's side of it.
Very similar. I mean, obviously we're brothers, so I'm a few years younger, but it was obviously you getting into music like your older brother. It's like I sort of got into it maybe a little earlier than you did because I was sort of copying what you were getting into.
Yeah.
So I was probably into Nirvana at like 13, 14 or something. Yeah. So but it was a very similar, pattern. But obviously we had dad played the guitar, and it's sort of an instrument around the house. Yeah. There's a bit of that.
And we jammed in the house, and we had like an old. It was old technology even for them. We're not this old, but we had like a reel-to-reel recorder in the house that Kurt and I had demo on, and it was top because you could get like a really sort of pronounced echo, like tape reverb effect on it. So it sounded like you were in a hall when you were recording on it. It was quite cool. So it sounded like it's quite easy to sound like the Stone Roses without really trying very much. But yeah, it's good. Yeah, I think you see bands come and go, don't you? It's funny.
You mentioned that yesterday.
Yeah. We were in Dundee yesterday, and I'm sure you've been to the Beat Generator venue, and it's covered in posters of bands from years gone by, and there's a few recognised from the Manchester scene, like that didn't really break through, but had obviously done this touring circuit, like Oceansides and Forward Russia and people like that.
Fox Rebellion.
Yeah. I'd done were like doing the business like 10, 15 years ago, but we just decided to stay doing it, I suppose, and then eventually it got big enough for it to make sense for us to go full time. So, but yeah, I think there's always been indie bands, and you've seen it come in and out of fashion, I guess. There was a time when we were going out to indie clubs in Manchester where, Britpop had died, and there was a bit in Manchester all that was really going on with bands like the Doves, which good and Elbow, which good bands, but not really indie dance club bands, if you know what I mean. And then it wasn't until like Strokes and Libertines and then Arctic Monkeys kicked the whole scene off again. But it seems to ebb and flow. Like now you've got the more poppy side of indie coming through, like Blossoms and Pale Waves and 1975 to take it to the sort of extreme end. But there's room for our kind of music. But guitar music, I guess, it's not as heard on radio as it once was. Might change, don't know. Mm-hmm. Tell you my love, it's easy. I could try that.
Go past caring, I think, after, like I say, the scene was probably dire 15, 20 years ago. When you're first in a band, you could have been, every band was the same, trying to be the same kind of Britpop, even when that died for another 10 years after, bands were still trying to do that.
Yeah.
I think we get compared to Manchester bands, we obviously love some Manchester bands as well, so it's not a negative in any way. You just got to crack on and do what you do. We certainly don't look for too much for inspiration from any band really in terms of what they were doing, or it just comes naturally however we want it to.
Yeah, I've tried to put it down. I've tried to think about, because we have been from my perspective anyway, been compared to Joy Division stuff. Like I've got quite a baritone vocal, but I also do falsetto stuff, and it's the lyrics are a bit sort of rained on, so I can understand. And we are from Manchester, so I can understand why people draw the comparison. But Yeah, I think none of us consciously. It's not like we go in the rehearsal room or recording studio and go, "Here's a blueprint for what we're doing." I just think it's just whatever you've grown up with, it's been around you when you've been out to clubs or gone out live or whatever, and that just comes through naturally, really. But yeah, I think for a while when we're like you say we've been around for 50 years, but Jim and I, who's not here at the moment, we're in a band called Omerta before, and I think in the early days at least, you did feel that the Manchester scene and all of that did cast a long shadow over Manchester, and from the media's perspective, they aren't coming looking for a scene in Manchester, if you know what I mean. They're looking for a scene in London or looking for a scene in Sheffield. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
been and gone, and everyone is still trying to copy it.
Yeah.
That blueprint. So it's only just started again, hasn't it?
Yeah. But they won't call it a scene now.
No.
Because it's too disparate. But
bands will also literally sort of obviously they might be from sort of suburbs and stuff, but they'll say I'm from Stockport or from somewhere slightly out of Manchester, Warrington or whatever, because they don't actually want to say Manchester, which is the opposite of what they would have done back in the day. Like Charlotte said we're from Manchester, even though they weren't, and the Verbs got lumped in with Manchester, even though they're from Wigan. It was like, but they
there was a lot of
which is quite funny.
Yeah.
They come out.
What's mine is yours, what's white is black. No, it's not.
I think so. Yeah. I think things are certainly in Manchester, but I think in general, and it's like you say, I don't think it matters where you're from anymore as much. I think it's more of a level playing field. But
I think it matters less now.
I think you can build it for yourself anyway. You're empowered through like this is going on YouTube.
Yeah.
Through YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and shit like that, you get your stuff out there, and as long as people are hearing it, then there's a chance they'll like it and then tell their mates.
Yeah, the DIY route is a lot easier now than ever.
Yeah. So eventually, if your stuff's good, you'll start to get a following. Obviously, things like getting exposure, like getting on the telly and stuff, and radio and everything, accelerates that. But at the end of the day, if your stuff's good, then eventually you'll start building up, and then people have to start taking notice. You know what I mean? That's how it was with us anyway. Well, it was written last year, so it was, and it still persists. The sort of I think at the time there was posturing going on between Trump and Kim Jong-il, the sort of the whole Korean Peninsula stuff, and then there's always like Brexit and everything else going on. It feels like the world's in a very uncertain place. And then there's bits in the verse where I'm sort of saying, "Tell me, Father, tell me how to play dead" and stuff. That that's about trying to find solace and structure in the family while all this madness is going on around you, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's what it's about. I've never been one for like overtly try to be too political personally, but I think but it's good to see bands coming through doing that, and it's kind of perhaps a responsibility to reflect it in some way, because if you go on singing about nonsense when there's loads of horrible shit going on, then it just feels a bit weird. But at the same time, you don't want to be preaching to people, so it's a fine line.
You'd still get lumped into genres, wouldn't you? I mean, you'd have an indie playlist or an electro playlist or something, but there probably is more variety these days anyway, just by the sheer number of bands, the volume of people putting music out there.
Yeah. But I think a lot of bands have been lumped together before that aren't really, like if you think about going back to Manchester, like James, Happy Mondays, Charlotte and stuff like that. They're all very different bands, but we're still part of the same scene, if you like. So it's for other people really to lump all that together and call it a thing, I guess.
And Britpop is the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
You got Pulp and nothing like Oasis or Blur.
Completely different.
But yeah, exactly. But Spotify will recommend you, or YouTube will recommend you based on watching other stuff. So yeah, it does its own thing. The technology is helping us.
I personally think vinyl will still stick around in some form quite a while. Foreseeable future. CDs and things like that probably eventually just, I don't know how long, maybe 10 years or so they'll fizzle out. I don't know. But I don't have a CD player at home personally.
No, I don't either.
But I've got a record player, and I do like vinyl. I like collecting it. I like having the the physical product and the cover and everything. But I'm not like a complete vinyl freak. I don't go out and seek original versions and things like that. But I think there's a lot of people out there that just love that and they want to go away and take it home and stick it on the wall and don't necessarily play it. Whereas you can't do that with Spotify.
I think that's a big part of it. I think we do have a lot of our audience that are proper vinyl aficionados and will say it's the best medium ever and that kind of thing. And that, but you will, for me anyway, one of the things I found about when I was growing up and I had a CD collection was that somebody can come round to your house and have a look at that and go, they've got an idea of who you are and what you're about, and that you kind of miss that really unless you sort of putting your Spotify playlists in people's
I was going to say, there's still digital
It's a
playlists out there, but I think it's more also for you. There's an element of like certainly for like when you want the artwork and things like that, or you might frame it in your house and you really love an album, and that you cannot do it. You can't do that with a stream.
I think there's a desire basically for a physical thing to say, whether it's a T-shirt or a vinyl or a tea towel or whatever. It's
an identity.
Yeah.
Now on the TV, the world is on fire. We've all gone insane.
We got approached, didn't we?
Yeah, I think it came via our management really, who've had associations with the people before. I think it was suggested and we thought worth investigating. So yeah, we met the guys and they were great guys. They've done a few band beers as well, done with Alt J and Maguire. And we were doing some sampling, seeing how it was all made, and it happened quite quick to be fair. They turned it around really quick, and it's really surprisingly it's really
slow brew.
It's really nice as well. Actually, it's on sale tonight as well, I think.
Yeah.
So it's a strange one because only really Kurt was the only drinker now.
Yeah.
So it is a bit strange that we've gone through that process, but it's nice. There's quite a few little indie craft places in Manchester took it on as well, which is great.
We've had good feedback from it so far, and it's sold out on every gig that we've done so far. So it can't be horrible.
There's going to be a sense of pride, isn't there? Because it's your city, isn't it? But I think we sort of touched on it earlier. It can go either way. It can be a blessing or a curse, but we just try and look past it really. We don't think, are we part of such a scene or not, and we're not really thinking, I think for bands starting out, something might be thinking, will the industry look at you, or will labels not be interested because you're from Manchester? But obviously we don't. We're sort of beyond that.
We're beyond that now, yeah.
I think that's the negative for Manchester, is it's not got that industry side of things. I think it's all still London kind of based, and that's the only negative maybe once the days of Factory, etc., when at least there was a spotlight on Manchester in that respect, but maybe that's missing maybe. But there's loads of great venues, there's loads of great people with bands coming through, and some good local promoters who are decent as well and up and coming, so maybe that might change. Hopefully it does.
It's a very confident city. I mean, music's just a small part of that, but it's physically growing all the time. It's cool. There's loads of cool places to go out and everything. There's loads of venues from tiny places right to like 100 capacity places right up to the Apollo. It's a good place.
It's considered. I mean, without being arrogant, it's considered like the second city after London, isn't it? Really, by most people.
I think we're all proud Mancunians, definitely. But whether that means anything to the music industry,
as I say, whether that's related to music is probably related to football. It's related to our upbringing, related to other things. Probably not just music, but it'll be a part of it, I'm sure.